Joining us today is Jim Jaworski. He is the president and general manager of the Daytona Tortugas. And I say joining us, we're joining him on location here in the Jackie Robinson Historic Ballpark. Couldn't be more excited to be here and say hello to Jim. Jim Jaworski, how are you doing?
Good, thanks for having me. Thanks for coming over.
Hey, thanks for having me and letting us come over and talk. And I know that you oversee the operations, and there's a lot that goes on here. So the Tortugas it's a community asset, and it's been here for how many years now?
Over 100 years, since 1914. This ballpark has been here in some way, shape, or form. Just celebrated the 10th season with the Cincinnati Reds.
Outstanding, and that affiliation with the Cincinnati Reds. So they're like, this is minor league baseball.
Yep.
They're the major league, and so talk about that affiliation, because I was surprised to learn about that. Now, I will admit I'm not a super crazy baseball fan. If it's on, I'll watch it, but I don't set my schedule by it. So I know who the Cincinnati Reds were, but I had not made that connection. What does that mean?
So each major league affiliate has 4 minor league teams.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different variations, a lot of different partnerships, a lot of different setups and how all those are put together. But for us in the Reds, we have a separate ownership group that owns the team, if you will, owns the Tortugas. And then through our partnership with Major League Baseball, and in our case, the Cincinnati Reds, then they provide the players. They provide the players, they provide the coaches, they provide the strength and conditioning coaches, the trainers, you name it, anything that involves the players, and especially on the field, the Reds provide those things. There's things that are equipment-wise that the Reds provide and that they're a part of, and then there's things that we provide as an organization, such as we provide the jerseys, we provide the hats, we provide the pants. So there's different ways in which we work together through our partnership to make sure that not only we're putting on a show for the fans, but then also we're doing, from a facility standpoint, what we need to do to assist in the Reds to develop their players to reach their ultimate goal, which would be at the big league level. That's
wonderful. It reminds me of, it's kind of like a teenage boy who's got an older brother who's got the car, right? So that's pretty cool. So you could tap into, obviously, that huge legacy of the Cincinnati Reds and what they do. So when you run a ball field like this, and the Tortugas as an organization and that relationship with the Reds, what are some of the challenges that you run into that people might be surprised about with scheduling and travel and the player development and even the money part?
Yeah, so I mean, that's the most interesting part of this, right? Is that, from the development side, the Reds want to do 2 things, right? They want to, first and foremost, develop individual players, right? But then they also want to continue to develop as a team, right? There's some teams, there's some individuals that know how to win, and there's some teams and individuals that don't know how to win, right? It's about doing the small things, whether that's in baseball, whether that's in business, whatever the case may be, right? So I think that's one of the different challenges, because I've asked, right? How do you balance individual development versus the team development, right? They're both important, but how do you balance those 2 things? So, I think for us, our job is to assist in that, right? So you talk about travel. So we book all the hotel rooms. We book all the buses. We book all the travel and the logistics. When do they want to leave from the ballpark? When are they going to the next city? So we help in that way to assist, right? And then for us, it's about, the player's development, right? Ellie De La Cruz is a great example of that. Someone who played on this very field and has had a tremendous start to his career, right? Well, now our story continues. We continue to tell that story. When you talk about the history of Jackie Robinson Ballpark and all the things that have taken place here, that recent history, if you will, right, is a part of that story and is a part of the journey and how we see fit here at minor league baseball.
That's excellent. Well, and we're hearing and seeing some ongoing modernization and some construction in the background, Jim. So that made me think of the fact that you're creating an atmosphere for the fans to really have a great time, but also taking some consideration into Florida weather, where You're building out some additional space that's covered. And so, what do you do if you have a season where maybe you lose some of your home games because you can't play? I mean, we get a hurricane now and then.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And it's part of our job to play baseball, right? But at the end of the day, as long as we're playing baseball safely, not only for the players, but also for the fans, then that's our goal, right? And so to your point, it very much impacts the business, right? We're in the business of baseball, right? We're in the business of entertainment. But at the end of the day, it comes down to just controlling what you can control, right? As much as I've tried, I can't control if it's going to rain. I can't control if the sun's going to be out. I can't control that, right? But I can control the reaction to that, right? And so at the end of the day, it's doing as much as we possibly can. But it's also balancing those two things, right? Again, our job is to play baseball here. And so if that means that instead of starting at 6:35, if that means we start at 8:30, 9 o'clock, then that's what we have to do. But then it's also then balancing the business side, right? And so that's the short answer, right? Is making sure that at the end of the day, I'm doing as much as I can for both sides of that coin. And that's the secret sauce.
Well, and more specifically then on that point about the fan experience, keeping them engaged, right?
Correct.
I mean, especially if you have some disruption to your schedule,
Right.
Promotions, theme night, game day experiences. Talk a little bit about that and how you're able to do that while still managing your budget.
Yeah, so there's 66 home games, right? And so it's our job to give people 66 reasons to come out to Jackie Robinson Ballpark, right? And it might be, our Tuesday promotion where we have our 55 and over club and our membership, and we play baseball bingo, and it's also our breast cancer awareness nights. Again, when you talk about community, the answer is community, 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 right? Whether it's our giveaways, we've leaned more into the giveaways, especially wearables, right? And what I mean by that is it could be a Hawaiian shirt, it could be a basketball jersey, it could be a t-shirt, it could be a hat, it could be any number of things. There you go. So again, to give people 66 reasons to come out to the ballpark. It's working with local organizations, whether it's elementary, high schools, to sing the national anthems, different choir groups. It's, again, it all goes back to the same thing, and that's community. And as long as we're doing that, that also leads to awareness, right? And it's letting people know who we are, where we are, what we are. From the beginning of April to the middle of September, you can find baseball here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark.
Outstanding. Well, a lot of people do find it and they come and they attend. Speaking of attendance, how about when you have things that happen and you have your attendance dip and revenue falls short? What allows you to continue to be resilient in the face of some adversity to continue to provide this product and what people call their home baseball team?
Yeah, for me, it comes down to staying aggressive, right? And having a sports background, right? A little bit of competitive nature, I would say. It's staying aggressive. It's being open to trying different things. I think now we've done a much better job recently of just doing different things and trying to reach different avenues. Not talk to the same people over and over again and expect different results, right? And so I think it's about keeping things fresh. It's about, trying certain things, and we all want it to work. If it doesn't, that's okay. We now know it doesn't work, but at least to stay as aggressive as we possibly can to continue to move things forward.
Excellent. All right, Jim, well, thank you so much for having us here in the ballpark. It's a great day to come watch baseball.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.